Howdy, it's Sam. Welcome to the Wobblin Sports channel. If you're new around here, I hope I can get you to consider liking the content and subscribing to the channel. If you are a regular around these here parts, thank you very much for the continuous support. The preseason challenge is into week number 2. Broncos versus Cowboys is the main event on Saturday night. Let's get stuck into the preview. This Saturday from 7 o'clock, Queensland, 8 p.m. New South Wales, the Brisbane Broncos host the North Queensland Cowboys from Sunshine Coast Stadium. The odds on tab.com.au are $1.70 in favour of the Cowboys, $2.10 to the Brisbane Broncos, and the line has been set at 2.5, with the Cowboys being at -2.5. Last weekend, both these sides featured in a battle of Queensland against the Titans and Dolphins, respectively, and both of those Queensland derbies resulted in a draw. Probably the best games of the entire weekend, in my opinion. The Brisbane Broncos with Reece Walsh were unreal for about 50-odd minutes. Tony Staggs was also in that lineup too. And then about 10 minutes apart, but basically from half-time, when Walsh and Staggs went off, the Brisbane Broncos went inside their shell, in my opinion, and they dropped a large 12-plus point margin to draw it. 24 points all against the Gold Coast Titans. And it's just a little bit of maturity that still needs to blossom, in my opinion, for the Brisbane Broncos. For the North Queensland Cowboys, though, they had their Queensland Cup side. They pretty much had half their young guns and half their Queensland Cup side of Northern Pride and Townsville Blackhawks all mashed into one. And the young men and the B side did themselves very, very proud. They completed the best of any of the teams this past weekend with a completion rate of over 80%. The query that I've got, and the same disappointment that Todd Payten's got, is that the team last weekend weren't able to score as many points as what he would have liked, or didn't look fluent enough, crisp enough in attack, especially in the red zone. They were up 12 points to 4, 18 points to 10, or 12 points to 4 up at halftime. And the Dolphins came roaring back and even had the lead 22-18 with 16 seconds to go until Latia Mother-Drake scored in the corner and resulted in a 22 points all draw. So just to go back, my query on the Cowboys last weekend was their attack. What am I looking for this weekend from both the Broncos and the Cowboys? Well, I guess we're going to get it, because these two sides are completely different, and it's not unheard of. It's not totally unexpected. As a matter of fact, Todd Payten even said that he was going to roll out the best 17 or 20 available for the Cowboys. So going into the team list news for the Brisbane Broncos, the home side first, then big news from last weekend, if you're a Broncos fan, is that Reece Walsh did an orbital bone, fractured it, and is in major doubt for round 1. So he will not be participating in this contest this weekend. In place of him at fullback is a man that aspires to be the fullback one day at the Brisbane Broncos, but with Reece Walsh there, I don't know if that's going to happen anytime bloody soon. Selwyn Cobbo is going to be the fullback, and he had himself quite an afternoon at the NRL All-Stars last weekend. Dropped 6 balls, but he scored 3 tries. The wingers for the Brisbane Broncos, Corey Oates and Jesse Arthurs has been named on the wing in jersey number 5. I know Arthurs has played wing a few years ago, and I really like Jesse Arthurs as well, mate. I really like Jesse Arthurs too, so good to see him getting another game in as many weeks. The centre pairing is Herbie Farnworth and Tony Staggs. The halves pairing is Ezra Mam, and Adam Reynolds has his first game for 2023. The forward pack for the Brisbane Broncos is Corey Jensen and Payne Haas starting as the pillars of strength, and Billy Walters comes in at jersey number 9. The back row is Kurt Capewell, Jordan Ricky, and Patrick Bulldozing Carrigan in at lock. The back row for the Brisbane Broncos is Corey Pakes, Keenan Palacia, Brendan Piakura, and Martin Tapauer. And the reserves, it's interesting. So you've got Dean Mariner, who's got so much hype on him. You've also got Deloise Hoyter, who too has huge raps. And also on the reserves list is Jock Madden, Blake Moser, and Xavier Willison. That is close to full strength for the Brisbane Broncos, save for Reece Walsh. Just a compliment to Jordan Ricky. I have earmarked him to be a breakout player for the Brisbane Broncos. I've seen him do good things, but I don't think he's broken through that ceiling just yet. And he did some pretty good stuff last weekend in the NRL All-Stars game, in my opinion. So Jordan Ricky, really looking forward to see how he goes. Patrick Carrigan was the Bronco that broke out last season. My word, didn't he? Adam Reynolds will be cool to see how he goes. Unfortunately, we don't get to see Reece Walsh and Reynolds and Bam combine for the first time, but that's obviously going to be saved up for the round 2 Queensland Derby. But it will be cool to see Adam Reynolds back. Now, to the premiers for 2023, North Queensland Cowboys. It's everybody that played last weekend, by and large, are out, and the best 17 or best 20 are in for the Cowboys this weekend. Scott Drinkwater is at fullback. The wingers Kyle Felt and Murray Taulagi. The centres Valentine Holmes and Peta Hiku. The halves combination of Tom Dearden and Chad Townsend returns. Jordan McLean and Ruben Cotter have been named as the pillars of strength, with Reece Robson in at dummy half. The back row is Cohen Hess, Jeremiah Nanai, Jason Taumalolo, and Cohen Hess will be filling that void, it seems like, or is the front runner to fill that void, seeing that Leilua, unfortunately, is going to be out until approximately mid-May, and also that Hylam Lukey is still recovering from an ACL reconstruction. So it looks like Cohen Hess is going back into the back row, even though I think last year when Cohen Hess played predominantly in the front row, I think he had his best season in bloody 2 or 3 years, just about, with all due respect, of course. The interchange bench, a very welcome sight. Jake Granville at jersey number 14. There's been a lot of question marks on who is going to be that utility player. And Jake Granville getting that first fair income opportunity in jersey 14. Wow, that's fantastic. I didn't think he would. I hoped he would, but I didn't think he would, but he has. He's got a massive opportunity this weekend. Really cool to see, bro. And then the rest of the interchange is Griffin Neem, Jack Gajewski, so he obviously impressed last weekend, and I thought his defense was quite strong. And James Tarmo, who definitely impressed in his first game in Cowboys colours since 2016. And the rest of the interchange bench, the reserves list, is Ben Hampton, Riley Price, and Brendan Elliott. The most notable omission for me is Taniela Seidrugu, who was arguably the man of the match last weekend against the Dolphins in that 22-all draw. He ran for just about 200 metres and had himself 4 or 5 offloads and tackled like an absolute monster. So it is, it's a little, I don't know, I really wanted to see him get a second crack, actually, considering he is this close, that close to making a first grade debut. But alas, we'll see what happens when the regular season comes about. You obviously need to get your best 17 some minutes under the belt. And also Riley Price, I guess, has been rewarded with jersey number 19, and definitely he was strong. Very, very sound. But I thought his attack, conversely, whereas Taniela Seidrugu's defense was quite strong and noticeable, I think Riley Price's hit-ups was a little bit more noticeable for me in my eyes as well. Last season, these two sides met in the preseason, and the Cowboys won really convincingly. Arguably, at the time, it was their best performance in about a year, maybe even more than that. And that night, what really stuck out to me, and this is no offense to any player that I'm about to mention, but Valentine Holmes wore Katoni Staggs like a wet towel last year in that preseason game. And every time he came up against Katoni Staggs. So a battle that I'm looking forward to this weekend is Staggs versus Holmes. I think Staggs would know. I think he would recognise that Valentine Holmes won the battles between the two last season, and I think Staggs might have something special up his sleeve this weekend and going on forward throughout the rest of 2023. Selwyn Cobbo at fullback, is going to be cool to see. It is a position, as I said before, that he aspires to play one day. But with Reece Walsh there now, who knows how long it's going to take for Selwyn Cobbo to have an opportunity at fullback. This is just about the biggest, best game of the entire weekend, save for the World Club Challenge that pits Penrith versus St. Helens against each other. Obviously, I'm going to go the North Queensland Cowboys 1-12. Usually I'd say 13 plus, but these games between the Broncos and the Cowboys always finish 1-12, don't they? So, this is going to be a fantastic game of footy. Yes, there'll be errors, but it's a pre-season. I cannot wait to see these two sides go at it in person. I'm going to be up there at the Sunshine Coast Stadium, my first trip up to the sunny coast ever. So if you're thereabouts, if you're going to the game, swing by and come and find me. I'll be wearing me straw hat, and I just, yeah, awesome. It's going to be such a good day out there at the sunny coast. Hopefully the weather does not absolutely piss down, but we'll see what happens. Thank you so much for the recent support, the continuous support. This channel's close to 1,000 subs, and let's get there, eh? But you know, all in due time, and if it's all deserved and whatnot. Thank you very much, guys. Adios. Hope your team wins this weekend, and except for the Brisbane Broncos, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Adios.